Welcome to Public Affairs, and we are now with Consul General Leo Herrera-Lim. We've covered a number of topics in the previous interviews, and at this particular segment, we would like to tackle the issue of dual citizenship, which is the most frequently asked question. Please let our community know the documents that are necessary for them to prepare and to submit, and give us the advantages of applying for dual citizenship.
Well, again, Ali, thank you very much for both your interest and your listeners' interest in this particular process of dual citizenship. Probably give me a minute just to give you an overview. In 2003, when the Philippine Congress passed the law on dual citizenship, it pretty much recognized the fact that many of our citizens possess two proud cultures, the American culture and the Philippine culture. So they pretty much had to put in a process so that this can be formalized. That's why we had this law in terms of dual citizenship. The requirements are straightforward. The person has just to prove that he has been a natural-born Filipino citizen. So we need the basic document would be NSO birth certificate. Then number two, if he or she is already married, we need a copy of the marriage certificate. Then he has to fill up a application form. Then we need a copy of his U.S. naturalization certificate. And if he or she possesses a U.S. passport, we need to see the U.S. passport. And then we need 3 2x2 pictures from him. And the fee, of course, no government service runs without a fee, is only $50.
Mm-hmm. And Consul General, is this something that can be done entirely at the Philippine Consulate General Office, including the swearing in?
Absolutely. Usually, if the applicant comes in by around 10 a.m., before 10 a.m., before the end of the day, we're able to review all the documents, process it, and accomplish the oath-taking, as well as enable the applicant to apply for a Philippine passport on the same day. And earlier on, you asked me about the advantages.
Yes.
Let me enumerate probably 3 or 4 advantages for me, which should be the highlight for a PhilAm.
Mm-hmm.
First one would be pretty much what I said earlier, formalization of the possession of 2 proud cultures, U.S. and Philippines. The number 2, there's the right to vote after you reacquire your Philippine citizenship. So for many, now that they're pretty much always glued on the going-ons in the Philippines, they want to influence also the election in the Philippines. And this is one of the most straightforward way of influencing by voting for the presidential and the senatorial elections. Then number 3, there are certain economic rights that the person reacquires, including the right to acquire unlimited land in the Philippines. He can purchase or develop land in the Philippines, and then or he can engage in businesses restricted to Filipinos, like retail or those related to the defense establishment, or he can continue to practice his profession. If he was a doctor before in the Philippines, he can renew his license. If he was a nurse in the Philippines before, he or she can renew her license. So those are the economic benefits. But then there are also what I call some of the fringe benefits of dual citizenship. If you're a Philippine passport holders, you can enter any of the 10 ASEAN member countries without need of visa. Let me take, for example, Vietnam. If you're a U.S. passport holder, you have to pay a visa fee to enter Vietnam and wait for your visas to be processed. If you're a Philippine passport holder, you can enter Vietnam without a visa, and you have a faster lane entering Vietnam. So if you're keen on visiting certain countries in the region, having a Philippine passport is a plus.
Mm-hmm. Before we end this segment, Consul General, is it possible that if an individual, Filipino-American, is in the Philippines, can he or she also go to the Department of Foreign Affairs to undertake this particular process?
If the person is in the Philippines, the office that undertakes this is the Bureau of Immigration, because remember, this function is just delegated to the Philippine Foreign Service post by the Bureau of Immigration. the law that was passed the Bureau of Immigration to implement this program. But they don't have offices around the world. That's why they delegated it to the consulates.
Very important information given to us by Consul General Leo Herrera-Lim, and I'm sure this answers the questions of many of our viewers and our listeners. Thank you so much for joining us today, Consul General. We'll be back for more on Public Affairs.